telling you right now, this is a safe place for Florida State fans. Vent in the comments, do whatever you want to. I'm not going to sit here and just bash the entire football program and say why they suck. This is a horrible program. It's over for Mike Norvell. Fire Mike Norvell. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's more to have an open discussion of what is next for Florida State. And yeah, I will pull up some statistics from their first 3 games to kind of represent how far behind the 8 ball this program is and how confusing it seems from the outside looking in. Because from what it seems like on every press conference from Mike Norvell, and I'm going to reiterate the same thing that Josh Pate said, was it looks like he feels really good Monday through Thursday, maybe even Friday with the walkthroughs. But then Saturday, it all falls apart. This team looks like they haven't even played any kind of level in the fall. They didn't even do spring camp. Like, this just looks unorganized. It almost feels like they have test anxiety. As soon as game day comes around, they don't play like they do in practice, which I'm not saying everything has to correlate from practice onto the field, but most cases it's bad practice, bad result. Instead, it's really, really good practices from reports, and then it's really bad results. And so it's very confusing to think about, especially knowing they're 125th in third down efficiency as an offense. And on the defensive side, they're 124th. Let me tell you a couple of the teams that are in front of them. First off, with the offense, we have UTEP. Let that sink in. UTEP, one of the worst teams in all of college football. They are better in third down efficiency than Florida State. Hawaii, UCLA, one of the worst Power 4 teams that just got blown out by, I think, like Indiana at home. They are better on third down efficiency on the offensive side of the ball. Ball State, Eastern Michigan on the defensive side of the ball, which I thought was going to be the crutch of this Florida State team, and I think a lot of other people did, was that defensive line. And I want to go watch that tape of just like Patrick Payton and everyone around that defensive line, because it was seen as like one of the best in the country. And I do think they bounced back against Memphis and looked a lot better, but the offense is still a problem. Mind you, out of 133 teams in the entire country through 3 weeks, they are 126th in offensive production. And the reason why I'm focused on the team itself is because a lot of people want to go and blame DJU. And this is not to say DJU gets none of the blame in this entire operation. He is the quarterback. He has not looked good. He has not looked comfortable. He doesn't even look like himself from the Oregon State days. He looks like the second year of Clemson, inaccurate, indecisive, not being as mobile as he should be for someone that is built like everything that an NFL prospect should look like for the quarterback position in 2024. But up here in the accuracy, it's just not working. That's why I put him in the Joe Millen Hall of Fame, which if you want to know what that is, I'll make a whole video on it. I think it would be a very funny, and there would be a lot of hate in it, but it's still funny to put someone in the Joe Millen Hall of Fame, someone that has all the tools and intangibles, but just can't piece it together. So DJU does get a lot of the blame. And what concerns me the most is when you have Mike Norvell come in and say, I am pleased with how he's preparing for the upcoming games. And that's fine. And that partially leans into what I said earlier, where Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, it looks great. It looks fine. Everything's flowing. It looks like you guys are about to put on a great performance this week. And then that doesn't happen. So maybe he is preparing great. I'm not calling Mike Norvell a liar, but it is funny to point out that maybe there's some sort of test anxiety or something is not clicking because DJU is just not performing. Also, his wide receivers are just not catching. That's why I also said, like, they look like they're in the spring era of the 2024 season. They look like they're coming off of a spring game. Just things are just not clicking. Guys are not catching footballs. They're being misaligned. They just don't look good. Now, they're not like bottom 5 in penalties, but they're not like not getting penalties throughout the first 3 weeks, and they just don't look clean throughout. On top of that, he says he has a lot of confidence in that quarterback room. Well, we have not seen anybody else other than DJU. That's a problem, in my opinion. I'm not putting the whole blame on DJ. That's the last thing I want to do, because I think that's unfair, and I don't think that tells the whole story of why Florida State has been so bad. I think you have to go with one of these guys sooner or later. The season's done, guys. I think Florida State fans, if you're watching this, you would tell me in the comments down below, it's over. What is there truly to salvage by running DJU into the ground and losing more games? Because at this point, you really have nothing to lose. Play the freshmen. Get the guys opportunities. Play Hakeem Williams. Salvage what you can, because the talent you have brought in through recruiting, and you've sold them this idea that we are back. We are going to be this dominant force, this national power once again. And all that talent, though, they probably should have built it up a lot more, and maybe the timelines just did not match up, because truly, I think Mike Norvell needed one more really good transfer portal class to get them into that national title contention, to get them into that national power conversation, so that he can continue to build up the recruiting base, because that's been the big topic of conversation is they do not have the recruiting base to supplement if a transfer portal addition does not work out. And I think he was right on the cusp of feeling confident in the guys that he recruited out of high school to be able to fill into those roles. But I think they're too young at this point. And so that's why he needed that just one more year makes all the difference. And I think this is the worst case scenario and the biggest growing pain that he's having to suffer through. And what I fear the most is he's about to lose a lot of those guys to the transfer portal, because it's a give and take. You take a lot from the transfer portal, you end up giving a lot back. And I don't even want to sit here and try to go through their schedule and say, where's the wins? Where can they get their first win? Because I don't think they go 0-12. And if they go 0-12, they're going to get another video, and Mike Norvell might need to get fired. I'm not one to say that he's automatically on the hot seat. I just made a TikTok, by the way, go check it out, link in the bio, of talking about the guys that are on a hot seat. And it was tough to put him in the same conversation as Billy Napier, Sam Pittman, Dave Aranda. But when you're crumbling like this, we can't just forget that this is not Florida State. Florida State has standards just like any other national power. And if you are crumbling this bad, it's not a good look. You have to have that conversation. There has to be pressure. Now, they've invested a lot of time, resources. This is their guy. I don't think if there was a percentage chance that they fire him by the end of the year, I think it's 5%. I don't think it's that high. It's higher than I thought going into the season, but it's 5% in my opinion. If they go 0-12, it's like 25. I still think they are going to go with him for 2025, because if you take him away, you're losing a lot and you're basically restarting as an organization. And I just don't think Florida State can handle that, truly. But the biggest thing I want to know is, like, if you're a Florida State fan, if you're boots on the ground, if you speak to beat writers, if you're in those Twitter communities, what's next? What is the feeling around Florida State outside of the troll of someone's got to eat some dog poo to uplift this curse? No, give me an honest answer. What are you wanting? Are you wanting to start the young quarterbacks, get the young players just opportunities to play some football? Because at that point, you're just looking for development and then rebounding for 2025. I would love to know. But if it's your first time here at Rush the Field, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk football with you. I understand this was a very negative video, but Florida State's in a negative state right now. If there's one thing I'll ask of you, is just give me another opportunity to talk football. Whether it's a like, a comment, subscribe, even ringing the bell. Anything would mean the world to me. This is my passion project. But if you're a returning viewer, welcome back, man. Leave a comment. Do whatever.